I'm not John Wayne, but this is a century of cinema, a presentation we offer at the Historic Plaza Theatre on the first and third Wednesdays of each month, except December. This time, we will share film clips, posters, photos, and stories from 1903's Great Train Robbery to Clint Eastwood's 1992 Oscar sweep with Unforgiven. 120 years of good guys, bad guys, cowboys, Indians, kissing your horse before riding into the sunset, and everything in between. Robert Duvall described Westerns as the American Shakespeare. I think he was right. Westerns are the major defining genre of American film industry. Shall we begin? Know that we can't cover them all, or we'd be here a week. Does this remind you of the iconic image arriving in 1962 of James Bond pointing his pistol at the camera for Dr. No? In 1903, Edison Film released The Great Train Robbery, a 12-minute silent film depicting a gang of outlaws' flight across the mountainous terrain and a posse of locals who ultimately prevail. Created from a play of the same name, reportedly documenting real-life incidents involving Butch Cassidy. Edwin S. Porter directed, produced, and wrote the screenplay with a production cost of $150. Early film stars included Bronco Billy Anderson, William S. Hart, a former New York City Shakespeare actor, and Tom Mix, an actual former cowboy and film stuntman. Bronco Billy made 400 westerns between 1910 and 1919. With the advent of sound, we had new Western film heroes in the 30s with singing movie stars Gene Autry and his horse Champion, and in the middle 30s, Ohio's own Roy Rogers, king of the cowboys, with his horse Trigger. For trivia buffs, the first cowboy actor to sing on screen was John Wayne in a 1932 B Western. It was his only singing scene.
Again, those unbroken melodies that lulled me to sleep when a child. Down through the years, I've heard you calling me. So blow desert breeze, wrap me up in memories, and sing me your song of the wild.
1939 was Wayne's breakout film and rise to stardom in John Ford's film Stagecoach.
Hold it!
Whoa, steady, ho, ho. Hey, look, it's Ringo.
Yeah. Hello, kid.
Hello, Curly. Hiya, Buck. How's your folks?
Oh, just fine, Ringo, except my grandfather came
Shut up.
Didn't expect to see you riding shotgun on this run, Marshal.
Going to Lordsburg? I figured you'd be there by this time.
No. Lame horse. Well, it looks like you've got another passenger.
Yeah. I'll take the Winchester.
You may need me in this Winchester, Curly.
1940s Western stars included John Wayne, Gary Cooper, Randolph Scott, Errol Flynn, Ronald Reagan, and Henry Fonda. who starred in 21 westerns. Walter Brennan won his third Academy Award for his work in 1940's The Westerner with Gary Cooper. One of my favorite 1940s westerns was 1948's Red River, directed by Howard Hawks and starring John Wayne, Montgomery Clift, Walter Brennan, and Joanne Drew. In many ways, this is the film Mutiny on the Bounty, with cattle and cowboys instead of oceans and ships.
Besides being deserters, you're common thieves.
Well, the law might see it different.
I'm the law, you're a thief.
I signed the pledge, sure, but you ain't the man I signed it with.
You finished?
Yeah. Now you can get your Bible and read over us after you shoot us.
I'm gonna hang you.
No. No, you're not.
What?
You're not going to hang them.
Who'll stop me?
I will.
The 1950s brought new Western stars to our attention, including the 5 films done by Jimmy Stewart. Joan Crawford and Barbara Stanwyck show up in 1950s Westerns also. The 1950s gave us the film Shane, High Noon, The Searchers, 3:10 to Yuma, and Rio Bravo. A big change was coming, and Westerns would move from the big screen to a much smaller device in our living rooms. Television was on the horizon. At first it was The Lone Ranger, then Roy Rogers, Hopalong Cassidy, Wild Bill Hickok, and Death Valley Days. The studios became more sophisticated, and it wasn't long before TVs were flooded nightly with Bonanza, Gunsmoke, Cheyenne, Wagon Train, Maverick, Sugarfoot, Rawhide, Paladins Have Gun Will Travel, and even Steve McQueen in Wanted, Dead or Alive. Some would argue one of the greatest Western movies of all time wasn't a movie at all, but a made-for-TV series produced by a former female Motown executive. The 8-hour miniseries Lonesome Dove, starring Tommy Lee Jones, Robert Duvall, Danny Glover, Robert Ulrich, Angelica Houston, and a very young Diane Lane.
They say you carried your friend 3,000 miles just to bury him. Is that true? They say the both of you were Texas Rangers back in the old days, that you cleaned the Comanches out and the bandits. Is that true? They say you started the first cattle ranch up in Montana. They say you're a man of vision.
You say? Yeah. Hell of a vision.
Many critics proclaimed the last great film Western was 1962's The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, directed by John Ford and teaming up for the first time John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart, co-starring Lee Marvin as the dastardly Liberty Valance.
Pompey.
All right, dude. This time, right between the eyes.
Lee Marvin won his Oscar 3 years later for his portrayal in 1965's Cat Ballou. While American studios may have written a eulogy to big screen westerns, Europeans not so much. On summer break in 1963, Rawhide star Eric Fleming turned down the opportunity to shoot a western in a remote area of Spain with a relatively unknown director named Sergio Leone. Clint Eastwood accepted the job, which paid $15,000 for 11 weeks of work and the promise of a Mercedes-Benz upon completion of filming. The American public got The Man with No Name and a fistful of dollars. In the late 1960s, we had Sam Peckinpah emerge with the violent film The Wild Bunch, and then Butch Cassidy, which set an all-time Western film box office record. But the genre was going by the wayside for a while. In the 1970s, Eastwood came out with a trilogy of Westerns that did well: High Plains Drifter, The Outlaw Josie Wales, and Pale Rider. United Artists poured millions into a film called Heaven's Gate that was a bust. Studios were scared away from Westerns. The film Silverado came along in 1985, starring a handful of unknown stars at the time. 5 years later, in 1990, one of those unknown actors, Kevin Costner, won a Best Picture Oscar with Dances with Wolves. 2 years later, Eastwood scored big at the Oscars with the film Unforgiven, winning 4 Oscars. Next, let's visit The Magnificent Seven from 1960, in large part because of the backstories, and it's more of a classic older Western. This film is a remake of a Japanese film from 1954 called The Seven Samurai, whose director was inspired by the 1940s Westerns of John Ford. Talk about coming full circle. Another fascinating backstory here is the relationship between Yul Brynner and Steve McQueen. Brynner was an established motion picture star. McQueen was just becoming known from starring in the TV show Wanted, Dead or Alive. Brynner complained to the director that McQueen was constantly upstaging him. In the background, McQueen would shake shotgun shells, twirl the cylinder of his 6 gun. Brynner didn't like that a bit. You'll notice Yul never draws his gun in the same scene with McQueen. McQueen was faster.
Anybody else will drive it. So here.
Oh, hell. If that's all that's holding things up, I'll drive the rig.
Can I borrow that scattergun?
No. You're more than welcome. Hey, now wait a minute there. Listen, this hearse cost me $840 in Denver. It's the only one in the county. I'll be darned if I'm going to turn it over to strangers to be shot at.
I'll pay for the damages. I want to see this.
Me too.
Never rode shotgun in a hearse before.
Second story window. Curtain moved.
I'm not in a good position. Let him stick his neck out. You elected?
No. I got nominated real good.
The Duke finally won his long overdue Oscar with 1969's film True Grit. Here is the most memorable scene.
What's your intention? Do you think 1 on 4 is a dog fall?
I mean to kill you in 1 minute, Ned, or see you hanged in Fort Smith at Judge Parker's convenience. Which'll it be?
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Fill your hand, you son of a bitch!
Finally, let's visit another film from 1969 that upon its release set an all-time box office record for Western films. George Roy Hill's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, teaming Newman and Redford for the first time. Great backstory in Redford's being cast. Steve McQueen turned it down over who got top billing. It was Newman, of course. Warren Beatty turned it down because he wanted to change the slow motion ending, feeling it copied his Bonnie and Clyde ending from earlier. That didn't happen. Jack Nicholson wasn't available. With 6 weeks until filming began in Utah resident Robert Redford got the call, and Hollywood got it right.
They're going for position, all right. Better get ready.
Kid, the next time I say let's go someplace like Bolivia, let's go someplace like Bolivia.
Next time. Ready?
No, we'll jump.
Like hell we will.
No, it'll be okay. If the water's deep enough, we don't get squished to death. They'll never follow us.
How do you know?
Would you make a jump like that you didn't have to?
I have to, and I'm not gonna.
Well, we got to, otherwise we're dead. They're just gonna have to go back down the same way they come. Come on.
Just one clear shot, that's all I want.
Come on. We got to.
Up. Get away from me.
Why?
I want to fight them.
They'll kill us.
Maybe.
You want to die?
Do you?
All right. I'll jump first.
No.
Then you jump first.
No, I said.
What's the matter with you?
I can't swim.
Why, are you crazy? The fall will probably kill you.
Well, baby sister, it's time to saddle up and ride off into the sunset. But be sure to visit the gorgeously restored Plaza Theatre and their 38-foot wide screen, digital projection, and new world-class surround sound system. Go to myplazatheater.com for showtimes and events. The historic Plaza Theatre is located in beautiful downtown Miamisburg with unlimited free parking, shops to browse, and nearby fabulous dining options. Hope to see you at the Plaza, and I'll see you here next time, Pilgrim.